Hi pals, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess. In today's video, we're going to go through all 71 of the books that I read last year and rank them. For some reason, I'm doing this like 4 weeks late. Better late than never. I'm going to try to go as quickly as I can through these books because notoriously I'm a yapper and I just like need to shut up and get through this books because it will literally take me an hour and a half to do this video, and we are not doing that today. Although I do have all the time in the world today because it is indeed a snow day. It's so beautiful, snowy. It's so pretty outside. If you're in the middle of the area that got snow or ice, please be careful. I hope that you're doing well. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump right on into the rankings. So I have 6 categories. This is 5. I have 6 categories on here for you. First, we have my absolute faves. These are going to be my top books of the year. And then the next category is def read. So definitely read them. I probably rated them very high, or I still think about them a lot. Would recommend is the third category. These are going to be the books that are probably like in that 4-star range. Like, I don't know if everyone would like them. They may be for specific niches of people, but I enjoyed them. The next one is mid. These are going to be the books that just kind of did their job. Like a romance that was a romance, but it wasn't anything extraordinary. A mystery that was a mystery, but it wasn't anything out of this world. Next up, we have I don't remember / no. In this category, it's going to be probably a little bit mixed. Like, I'm either going to not remember a single thing about the plot. I can't even tell you if I liked it or didn't like it. Or they're going to be books that I'm just like, no. Last category is trash. These are going to be obviously my most hated books, the books that I DNF'd. I'm probably not going to go into a lot of detail about this. If you want more detailed reviews or descriptions about these books, definitely go check out my Goodreads. That's where I write more in-depth reviews. You can see my updates. You can see the books that I'm currently reading. So first off, we're going to start with All Good People Here by Ashley Flowers. This is a mystery book written by the girl that is the host of the Crime Junkies podcast, which I listen to. Well, I used to listen to it a lot. I haven't listened to it in a while. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in mid because it did what I expected it to do. However, it was not anything that I could not guess or that I didn't see coming. I thought it was pretty decent for her debut novel, but it just didn't like blow me away. Next up is Much Ado About Hating You, and I don't know who this is by because the author got cut off of the picture, but I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that I hated this book. I don't even know what I hated about it. I think the characters were a little bit insufferable. I think it's supposed to be like an academic enemies to lovers or rivals to lovers situation. Beyond that, I don't know, but I just know that I did not like it at all. So we're just going to go ahead and trash that one. The Payback Girls by Alex, maybe Travis. I don't remember that book at all. Could not tell you a single detail about that book, actually. So we're just going to put it in I don't remember. Fearless by Lauren Roberts. This is the 3rd book in the Powerless trilogy. I'm not going to give away a lot about the book because if you haven't read Powerless, then I'm not going to tell you the plot of the 3rd book. That would be major spoilers. But I will just let you know that this book series started off really strong for me. Like, I loved Powerless. The 2nd book stepped down. This 3rd book, absolutely hated it. Like, I think that it was awful. The biggest criticism that I have with this book and this whole series in general is that it is like a direct, almost knockoff of The Red Queen, except make The Red Queen a little bit more romantasy versus fantasy. There's a video that I did last year on my channel towards the beginning of the year. It was actually on a snow day, and I think I'm actually wearing this sweater in that video, where I read The Red Queen and kind of went over some of the similarities between it and Powerless. The Red Queen was written like way before Powerless, and Lauren Roberts has said in some of her marketing that it's like Powerless. She just directly really did plagiarize a lot of that book, so I don't really recommend that series anymore. Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. This book took me so long to get through. It's my first Sally Rooney book, and I was feeling a little smart. I was feeling a little bit of literary fiction when I picked this book up. This book has 2 POVs where it's going back and forth between brothers following the death of their dad. One brother is a little bit neurodivergent. He's a little younger. I think he's like at his early 20s or maybe late teens. And then there's an older brother who's quite a bit older than him, and he's just like really erratic. So it was weird being in both of their heads because their thoughts are so different. This one, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in mid because I did not necessarily love it. I was expecting a bit more. There's just a lot of hype around Sally Rooney. I don't know if Sally Rooney's my girl yet. In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. This book, I would recommend it. It is like the first of its kind in this true crime novel genre. It was written like Truman Capote was there. He did a ton of research. Basically, an entire family was murdered following like a home invasion, and this is like a pretty well-to-do family in small town rural America, so they're trying to figure out who did it and why they did it, what the motives were, how they can catch the people that did it. And I think it's a really good way to get into true crime if you're not really familiar into it, but I really liked In Cold Blood, and I love the cover that I had. Next is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. If you know me, you know that I really enjoy Ali Hazelwood books. I fall into that category of people that's like, she's an auto-buy author for me. I love her books, and I actually loved it. It was one of my favorite reads of 2025. It is her debut paranormal romance book, and it is about a vampire with a Y and a werewolf that have to get married for a political alliance. What happens when she goes there and she finds out that her family has been kind of lying to her this entire time. There's something really crazy that happened with her best friend, and she's trying to figure out the mystery behind that, and the only way that she can get to the bottom of it is doing a little bit of snooping around the werewolf pack. Next up, we have a short story called The Blanks by Grady Hendrix. I picked this up because in 2024 I read a different Grady Hendrix book, and it was so off the wall cuckoo insane that I had to read something else of his works. The Blanks follows a small coastal like vacation town where these families go, and once a year-ish during the summer, these like monsters come out, and if you make eye contact with them, they come and they take like your children. Or they kill you. It's something like that. I don't know the exact logistics behind it because I don't remember every single part of it, but I do remember thinking, this is weird. In this world, they don't want to acknowledge that these blanks, these monsters exist. Like whenever someone's like, they're coming after my kids, they're like, girl, there's no such thing as monsters, even though they all know that they exist. I thought it was a really interesting concept. I think it would be really cool as a full book. I'm going to put it in would recommend because it's a really nice short story and I did enjoy it. She's a Lamb. This book nearly sent me into psychosis for real. This book is from the POV of the main character, and she is a insane woman. She's an insane woman. She wants to be the lead in this play that she did not get casted for. She got hired as like the child wrangler for the kid stars in this play, and she's trying to do anything that she can to become the leading lady. She does crazy things to get there. I felt insane after I listened to it because I listened to it on audiobook, so I was really immersed in just like listening to her voice, and I was at work typing and I was like, these are the musings of an insane person. I would recommend it. I don't think it's for everyone. If you don't like an unhinged female character, then that is not pretty redeemable. Like, we're not really rooting for her. We're just on this ride with her. So I thought it was really interesting. I think that some people would enjoy it and some people would be like, she's nuts. If you tend to lean on the side of just being along for the ride, this would be a great book to pick up. Next up is Set Piece. This is a book from 831 Stories, which is a publisher that usually publishes really short romantic novels. A lot of stars for some reason get photographed picking up these books. They're the really cute, like these color block checker type books, and this one is Set Piece, and I think it's by Lana Schwartz. I really did like that. I'm putting it in definitely read because it's a nice bite-sized romance book, and it's about a girl who is she might be like a costume designer or a production assistant or something of that at a TV show or movie, and she's basically beefing with one of the other people on the set. I think it might be the main actor on this set because she has a little bit of a history with him, and we go into that throughout the book. Next, we have Pain and Suffering. We have Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. It's gone into absolute faves because this book absolutely wrecked my soul last year. I really enjoyed The Hunger Games when I was a teenager. I read it when I was in middle school, and I remember the Mockingjay book that I checked out from my library in middle school literally was covered in tears from where I was crying during certain parts of The Hunger Games. If you know, you know. But I loved that book series so much. And then when Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes came out, I read it. It was like kind of mid. I liked actually the movie because I love Tom Blythe more than the book on that. But this book was insane. It was so heartfelt and heartbreaking, and the characters really drew you in when you knew that it was going to have a really sad ending. Like, you go into this knowing that it's a sad ending, and you have to keep reminding yourself that this is about Haymitch's Hunger Games, and Haymitch is the mentor for Katniss and Peeta during the original Hunger Games series. This follows his journey to becoming the victor, so you know that he wins his Hunger Games, and you know that you cannot really be connected, but it's so hard not to feel for these really lovable characters that they put in the story. Next is a book that I picked up mostly just for nostalgic purposes. It is The New Year's Party by R.L. Stine. This is one of the Fear Street novels, and when I was in middle school, I ate these books up. I think I read every single one of them that was available at my local library and at my school. It was a good palate cleanser, a good way to just take a break. Like when you want to imagine something really easy, I love to go back to like some middle grade books, and this is one of them. This series is one of them. I'm gonna put it in mid just because it was exactly what I needed it to be. Like I wanted it to be easy, I wanted it to be quick, and it did just that. Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I'm gonna put it under def read. This was maybe my first book by Abby Jimenez, I'm pretty sure. And this one follows a big city girl and a small town boy, and there's a bit of like a magical element to it, like a magical realism element to it that I wasn't expecting. But it was so fun. I think that the main character, female, she might be a doctor, I think like an ER doctor, and he's like the mayor of this small town. It's a cozy little touristic town. It was a really good read. Basically her car breaks down and he helps tow her out. It was a pretty good read. Next is The Perfect Rom-Com. I'm just gonna go ahead and let y'all know that I hated this book, hated the characters, and somehow, by the grace of God, I actually did not DNF this book. Like, I finished it all the way through. However, I did hate almost every single part of it. I hated the main character. I hated her boss, her coworkers. There was a really weird, random plot twist that happened in like the last 10% of the book that I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever. Hated it. It's a trash book. Do not read it. Next is Priest by Sierra Simone. We're gonna go ahead and put that one in definitely read. This is a dark romance. It tends to lean, like when I say dark romance, I don't mean like serial killer stalker type dark romance. I just mean like dark themes. It's a dark thematic romance because it follows a priest who gets a new girl in his congregation, and what happens when she's kind of tempting him. She's tempting him and he's supposed to be like celibate, not marry, you know, never be with anybody. It's pretty good. It's pretty spicy. I think that you should definitely pick it up if you're not afraid of feeling a little bit sacrilegious while you're reading it, but really enjoyed Priest. And I want to read, it's like a whole series, I think, that follows the brothers of this priest after that. I want to pick up those other books. I just have not made my way back around to them yet. The English Understand Wool. This book, I'm going to put it in would recommend. I really enjoyed it. It's a novella. It's a pretty short book, and it follows a girl who was born into a ton of money, and it's kind of quirky, it's kind of silly. It reminds me of like a Wes Anderson style movie. I really enjoyed the way that the character articulated her childhood and the things that were taught to her while she was growing up. And the whole premise of this book is basically talking about how she was so rich that they would go to all these different places to get very specific items. And they did this for like all facets of their life. And there's a really big plot twist in it that I was not expecting, but I enjoyed this one. Next is You Between the Lines. This is a romance book, and I'm going to put it up and definitely read. This is an academic rivals to lovers book, college age. I think they're getting like their master's or their PhD, but it was so good. I really enjoyed the male main character, and the female main character, I liked her, but she almost hit a little too close to home. Like in some of the things that she was thinking, I was like, oh, I'm having to take a look at myself in a way that I'm not really comfortable with at this time. So I think when I read this, I was kind of critical of her. But now thinking back, I think that the main character just kind of reminded me of myself, and that was hard for me. But I really did enjoy You Between the Lines. Red Queen. I'm putting that up and definitely read. That one is by Victoria Aveyard. This is the book that I'm saying that Powerless plagiarized. If you go back and watch my vlog where I read Red Queen, it will all make sense to you, but I really enjoyed this one. It was not as romantic as Powerless is. I wouldn't really classify it as a romantasy book, but it definitely leans more into fantasy. I'm excited to read like the rest of the series. I have some more of the books in the series on my shelf. I just, as I keep saying, have not made it back around to it yet. Left of Forever by Tarah, DeWitt. Oh, that's going into my absolute faves. This is the second book in the Spoons Oregon Interconnected Standalones by Tarah DeWitt. You don't have to read the first one, which is called Savor It. You don't have to read that one to read Left It Forever. This one is a second chance romance between more mature main characters. These are characters that were, I think they were high school sweethearts. They were married for a while. They got divorced and now their son is going to college. They go on a road trip to move their son to college, and they decide that they are going to road trip back together and just kind of do things that they never did before while they were together. Just kind of see what their relationship could be, because there's still weird tension between them. And it's such a good book. It is so romantic. It is so sweet. I love second chance romances. I love them so much. Next is King of Sloth by Anna Huang. And I'm just going to let y'all know that this book nearly took everything out of me. I'm putting it in mid because there is an argument for this book being really, really good. However, I cannot argue that fight because I didn't like it. I say that mostly because my friend Allison that read this, she absolutely loved this book. And I had a month-long reading slump after starting this book. I went back and literally skimmed the last 2/3 of it just so I could get through it, because it took so much out of me mentally that it was gonna count towards my reading goal. Next is Swordheart by Kingfisher. If you know me, you know that I love Kingfisher. This is going into my absolute faves because almost every book that they write, I am just going to eat it up every single time. And I love that the diversity between the characters and the stories, the genres that Kingfisher writes, but this one is more of a cozy fantasy, and it follows a girl who has left the estate of her uncle, I think, and his family is not very happy that she was left everything in this estate, and she goes on a journey to find an attorney who can fight for her cause to have everything. But it also has a lot of fantasy elements. There's a lot of weird things happening in the background, and she's being protected by a guy who comes out of a sword, like a knight who is in this magical sword that she picks up, and a guy appears, and they kind of have a little bit of a romance situation happening. It was so fun. It was such a good book. It was really lighthearted and cozy. I recommend that book this time of year. It would be the perfect time to read this. Next is another Kingfisher book. This one is called What Feasts at Night. This is the second book in the Alex, what is their name? It's a soldier. I don't know. The main character's name is Alex, and this so far has 3 books in it, and all of them follow this main character. And the first one is called What Moves the Dead. That one is crazy. These are like supernatural horror-ish books. They're not super scary because I can't do super scary, but they do follow under the horror genre, I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna give it to would recommend. I did enjoy this one. This one follows Alex going back to their home, and there's a bit of a haunting situation that's happening, and they try to get to the bottom of that. Next is Lights Out by Nevessa Allen. This is a dark romance book. I'm gonna put it in, I'm putting it in would recommend, because there is a twist in this book that involves the mafia that I was just not expecting, and it was so stupid that I cannot put it in definitely read. This one is a pretty lighthearted dark romance. It's kind of funny. It's similar to Butcher and Blackbird's writing, where the crimes that they commit and the things that are illegal don't really matter as much because the main characters are silly goofy about it. This one follows a girl who is a emergency room nurse, I'm pretty sure, and she loves watching these thirst trap videos of this guy on TikTok who's like a masked guy, and she comments on it. And what happens when the guy post a video from a room that looks really, really similar to her bedroom? What do you do then? What happens when he starts stalking her because he looks at her profile and is like, wait, I'm kind of interested in this girl. So I would recommend Lights Out. It was just really fun. It was silly and it was really fun. Patron Saints of Nothing by Randy Rabai. This book was so good. I'm putting it in definitely recommend. I bought this book specifically because it is a Filipino coming of age book written by a Filipino person. I was trying to read more Asian American, specifically Filipino stories, because I'm Filipino and I'm just like not really immersed as much as I could be. So this book follows a boy who graduates from high school, and he takes a gap year from school when he finds out that his cousin was murdered in the Philippines. He lives in America and he goes to the Philippines to try to uncover the truth behind his cousin's death. Patron Saints of Nothing is such a good book. It made me cry. If you're interested in more Asian American voices, I would definitely pick up this book. Next, Victorian Psycho. This book, I would say I would recommend it. It's in the same category as She's a Lamb. She is a nanny. She's hired as a, what is it called? A governess, I think, for this rich family. And she hates the kids. The kids suck. She wants to get rid of them. Basically, every single thought that she has is about, like, how can I get rid of these children? I hate these kids. She's doing weird stuff with them. It is another, like, you're not really rooting for her, but an unhinged female character. Next is Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. This one is a hard rating for me. I really enjoyed Magnolia Parks. I thought it was good. I thought that the characters and just like the way that they talk is so funny, because she is this all takes place in London, and she's a British heiress. Basically, her family has a ton of money, and she talks, the way that she talks is like she's describing people, saying, oh, here comes Jessica, she's wearing a Louis Vuitton this couture, like it was couture, it was on the runway in this. And I just found it pretty fascinating. I liked how detail oriented it was. I liked how descriptive it was. It felt like an episode of The Real Housewives, just because of like the conflict that they had was dumb, but it is a romance about her and her ex-boyfriend. They're pretty tumultuous in their relationship of breaking up and getting back together. Since I've read this, Jessa Hastings, the author, has been pretty bad on social media, so I'm gonna say no, just because like I'm not gonna pick up any more of the books in the series solely because of the author and how she supports AI, and she has really interesting and controversial takes on things that I just don't agree with. So I'm not gonna read any more of it. I'm putting it in no, but I do understand if other people like the series. Next is Spies Don't Fall for Their Asset. I'm just gonna go ahead and let y'all know that I hated that book. It's going in the trash. It's about a spy who is trying to track down this woman, and he's trying to learn more about her. They have her kind of wrong, like they think that she did something that she didn't do, and it was just real dumb. Didn't like the characters, didn't like the way they talked to each other. Their dialogue was kind of stiff. It was meant to be banter, but it felt weird. Next is When Among Crows by Veronica Roth, and I've heard people rave about this book. It's pretty short, but I'm just gonna let you know that I didn't like it. Next was Gifted and Talented by Olivia Blake, and I'm gonna put this in mid. If you watched my videos last year, you might be shocked that I put an Olivia Blake book in mid, but I'm telling you, this year she just kind of fell off for me. Like, Gifted and Talented did not hit the way that I was really expecting it to. I thought it was going to be really good, and it does have some great reviews, but I think I was so hyped up about it that I was disappointed in the actual execution of the book. So this book follows 3 children that are the heir to their dad's fortune. However, they don't know who's going to get what. And their dad dies, and he has a will, and they're trying to get to the will reading, but all these things keep happening. There's like a magical element to it, like a fantastical element to it. Each of the kids, some reason, have powers, and no one else in this world does. Like, it's just really strange, but they're trying to figure out who is going to inherit the family legacy. It takes a really long time to get to the will reading, which is what I thought this whole book was going to be about. I thought it was going to be about the conflict after the will was read, but instead it's the conflict of even getting the will read. It could have been way worse, but it could have been way better. I had too high expectations for that one, unfortunately. Next is a fun one. It's Burnout by Rebecca Genchak. I'm putting this in mid, but not for the same reasons as I've put other books in mid. It was just like a romance book that was a romance book. I didn't really expect much from it. It gave me what I expected. It met my expectations. I'm putting it at the front of the mid just because I did like this book probably more than the other books in this category, but I just wouldn't really recommend it that much unless you're specifically looking for like a dirt bike romance, which is what I was looking for, because me and my husband are really into supercross and motocross, and so I was looking for a dirt bike motocross-ish romance, and this is about a disgraced motocross racer and a Olympic gymnast. So it was a really interesting dynamic. It was what I wanted it to be, and nothing more and nothing less, really. Next is Babylonia by Constanza Casati. This is going right to the top of my absolute favorites. This is one of my favorite books that I've ever read in my entire life, and it follows a woman named Semiramis. She is like an orphaned child. She grows up, her life is really hard, and she catches the attention of a governor. He's like a high-ranking official. It's kind of a love story, not really a love story. It's more about this woman who will do anything to get power, and not in like a, well, she's a little unhinged, but not the same as the other books. What are the lengths that you would go to fulfill a prophecy and a destiny that you know is meant for you? It's really heartbreaking. It's really well written. It's like lyrical. If you are a fan of Madeline Miller's Circe and the Song of Achilles, then I think that you would like Babylonia. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but it's kind of like, oh my gosh, my computer just refreshed the page on my tear maker. Please hold 1 second while I fix that. Okay, so I think that this tear maker website resets every 30 minutes because I think that's about how long I was on this site. Let's just move on to the next book. Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. I'm gonna put this is the third book in the Fourth Wing series. I'm putting it in mid just because I expected a lot more out of this book. I really enjoyed Fourth Wing. I thought Iron Flame was a step down, and then Onyx Storm really pissed me off. It made me so mad. So I'm putting it in mid. I think that this book has made me not want to continue on with the Fourth Wing series. Like, maybe when the next book comes out, I'm just going to watch a recap. Next is The Thrashers. This book is a YA mystery thriller book, and I would recommend it. It was really, really good. This is basically like the popular group in this high school, and it all revolves around one kid whose last name is Thrasher, the main guy. And what happens when someone in their friend group or someone associated with this friend group dies, and there's one person in this friend group that's the odd man out. Like, she doesn't have money, she doesn't come from a very right side of the track type family. That's what they say in the book. They are all being investigated by the police for the death of this girl. How did she die? Why did she die? What happened to her? What led to this? So that's basically what this book is following. And I'm finding out that I think that I really enjoy YA mysteries and thrillers more than adult. They're just like a lot better written. Also, last year I read Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I'm gonna put this one up and would recommend just because I did enjoy it more than Onyx Storm, and I thought that it was a good second book in a series. It was not like top tier, but I did enjoy the second one. Next is The Striker by Ana Huang. This has been, actually, I'm looking at this and realizing that Ana Huang has not been my girl this year, or this past year in 2025. I thought that I was really going to enjoy a lot of the books by her that I read, but this one, it was way too long for literally no reason. There was no reason that this romance book should be like 500 pages. That's crazy. I'm gonna put it in mid just because there is a world where people read this, and I thought it was a good book. Like, I thought it was pretty decent, but there's no reason why it should be so long. Follows a soccer star male character and a ballerina female main character, and they have a bit of a forbidden type romance and a little bit of forced proximity. I thought the book was good. I just wish it was 200 less pages. Next is a very weird and wild read for me, very outside of my norm, or really the realm of any books that I've read before. It's called Bronstein in the Bronx, and this is a book about a guy who comes to America following the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, and his 2 weeks that he spends in America. I think it's supposed to be like a pseudo true-ish story, like based on true events. It was just weird. It was really weird. I'm gonna put it in mid just because like there is an audience for this, and I don't even know why. Like, I requested this book as an ARC for whatever reason, and when I got it I was like, this is just not even what I thought it was gonna be. Like, I felt like I wanted to be a little bit more like historical, like I wanted to feel a little bit more smart in my reading, and then I read this and I was like, this is kind of silly. If you like history, if you know anything about Russian history, this might appeal to you. Next is The Answer Is No by Frederick Backman. This book was so fun. This is the first Frederick Backman book that I've read. I'm actually reading one of his other books, My Friends, right now, and I'm enjoying it, but this is so fun. It's really lighthearted. It's a very fast read. It's a short story or a novella, and I'm gonna put it up and would recommend just because it was fun. If you're looking for just a quick and easy read that has some humor in it, Frederick Backman, The Answer Is No is such a good way to go. Pomona Afton Can So Solve a Murder. I'm gonna put it in the top of mid just because I did enjoy it. I did like it, but it could have given a lot more. It didn't give me everything that I wanted, and it's a little bit more of a cozy type mystery. This is about a girl who is from a very wealthy family, and her grandmother is killed, and they're trying to figure out who killed her. There's stuff about the will, and she has to team up with her old nanny's son in order to figure out some of the mystery behind her death. All in all, I would say it was pretty decent. The next book is Where the Darkness Goes by Kirsten Modulin. This book and books by Kirsten Modulin, they were kind of like my shit last year. I really enjoyed all the books that I've read by her. I'm gonna put this one and would recommend. It was a pretty good psychological thriller mystery. If you're into the Frida McFadden style books, I think you would really like this one. Next is My Time to Stand by Gypsy Rose Blanchard. This was the first book that I read in 2025, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put that in the garbage. I hated this book. I got through it and I read it. I was appalled the entire time. Like, jaw slacked. She shows absolutely no remorse at all for like playing a major part in the death of her mom. I mean, yes, her mom was a perpetrator too. Like, her mom Munchausen by proxied her entire life. She was writing this book and published it while she was pregnant, or she might have just had her baby right when it was published, but while writing it, she was talking about being pregnant and how she knows that her mom is like looking down on her happy, and like, that is so weird. It's weird for you to write. Did not like it, would not recommend it. Next is The Wedding People. This book I read as a book club pick for my local book club, and I would say that you definitely should read it. Everyone that read it, we all kind of had the agreement that this was a crowd favorite. Everyone loved The Wedding People. This is about a woman who's kind of like at her wit's end. She has had a lot of bad things happen to her. Her and her husband are recently divorced. She's just looking for a way to get out of the slump. And she goes to this really cute like boutique hotel, and she's always wanted to go there. And when she gets there, she is somehow the only person staying at this hotel that is not part of this wedding that's going on the property. She ends up becoming wrapped up in the wedding activities for the week, and they invite her. It's just really an interesting read. It's comedic, it's really introspective. Like, she looks into her life and why she does things. There's a lot of quotes, like literary quotes. I don't remember, she's some kind of like historian or something of the sorts, and so there's a lot of quotes to literary classics. It kept me very interested. I wanted to know what was going to happen. I wanted to know what the people were going to do next. I wanted to know how the wedding was going to turn out. Really great book. Next is Accidentally Wedded to a Werewolf. I just wanted something fun, you know, I wanted something fun for the fall, and I got it. Funny enough, I'm putting this book in would recommend. I did not expect to put this book in would recommend when I got it. I got it as like a silly, goofy, oh, I'm gonna request this as an arc. I ended up really enjoying it. This is about a girl, she's pretty wealthy, and she ends up getting snowed in at this small mom and pop bed and breakfast, a B&B. On the first night that she gets there, they're having this big party. And in this world, monsters are canon, so like werewolves, monsters, but she's a human, and she goes and she's like, oh, these people are werewolves, that's fine, whatever. And they're having a big party. They offer her a drink, and she was like, no, I don't want to. And there's like this commotion going on, and she grabs a different drink, I think off of like the counter, and she drinks it, and apparently it's like the mating bond serum for the alpha werewolf in their pack. So she's accidentally wedded to a werewolf, and they have to wait until the winter is over to be able to go to the top of this mountain and get this thing that can break the bond. There's a lot of things happening. I thought it was silly. It was a good silly read. Next up is Lovesick. I'm just gonna let you know, when I reviewed this book, I gave it a pretty decent rating. However, like, I don't remember any part of this book. I have no clue what happened in this book. I know it's like a contemporary romance, and that's kind of all I got. So this is going in, I don't remember, because I literally cannot tell you a single detail about it besides the genre. Next is Square Waves. This is another one of those 831 stories that I talked about earlier, but it's also gonna go in I don't remember, because I don't remember what it was about either. Oh, that's kind of abysmal, 2 in a row. That's kind of sad. Next up is Celestial Banquet by Roselle Lim. I do remember this book. I'm gonna put it in mid. This book follows basically Master Chef, but for the gods, and if you lose, you die. It was silly, it was fun, but it was definitely written for children. So I would recommend it to your teenagers. The next book is Rose in Chains by Julie Soto. Dude, get into it. This is one of the Dramini fan fictions that came out last summer. If you remember, I said that like 4 were coming out last year. This was one of them. I've read one. This was so good. This one follows Bryony Rosewood. Her brother was the prophesized defeater of the rebellion, and they lose and her brother dies. What happens when the people from the Rosewood ruling are taken in by the rebellion? Negative connotation, like taken against their will, and then sold to the highest bidder. And she gets bought by one of the high ups on the other side, one of the bad guys. It was so interesting. This is a adult fantasy romantasy book. There's romance happening in this book, and I'm gonna put it up and definitely read. It was so good. Next is Summer in the City by Alex Astor. This one I got, it came out on my birthday last year, and it was just such a fun read. I'm gonna put it up and definitely read. It's a romance book that follows a screenwriter, and she lives in LA, but she gets sent to New York to work on this script that she's trying to write, and she usually gets inspiration while she's there. The script is supposed to take place in New York, and she hates New York because she had a bad experience there. And when she goes, she lives in her sister's apartment. Who is her neighbor? None other than this billionaire, the person that made her hate New York. And they have a little bit of this past, but she doesn't know if he really remembers it. They end up fake dating because it helps her, and she uses her hate for him to fuel her writing, and he needs someone to be his partner, or at least look like his partner in the press. If you like New York, if you want some New York vibes, I recommend. Next was Animal Farm by George Orwell. I'm gonna go ahead and put this one up and definitely read because you should read it. You should read it. This is a classic book. This is a literary fiction book. It's about animals and they talk in it. It is an allegory for politics, and it really sadly fits the narrative of what we're going through right now in politics and the government. You should pick it up. Next is The Poppy War. I actually read all of the Poppy War trilogy this year, and I'm gonna go ahead and just like rapid rank them. The first book, definitely at the front of definitely read. It is a heavy fantasy book. I'm talking long. All these books are very long, so if you're ready to lock in to fantasy, you should pick up the Poppy War trilogy. I really like the Poppy War. I would definitely recommend, I picked the wrong one. I would definitely recommend like the whole series, but I will say that the Poppy War and the Dragon Republic are the two heavy hitters. And then the last book in the series, it fell a little bit more flat for me. I didn't really love the ending of the series, me personally. That's just me personally. There are plenty of people on Goodreads who disagree with my take. Did not love Burning God as much, but The Poppy War is so interesting. It is about a girl who is from like the poorest part of this. It's supposed to be, I think, China or Southeast Asia. And she's from the poorest region of this place, and you have to test into these prestigious military academies, and she tests into one, and she tests so high that she gets a full scholarship. And this is normally only for people who have a ton of money that can send their kids here to become specialized in certain things, like, and guarantee that they get a job and have a good future. And once they get there, they have to pick what area they're going to study in, and she ends up picking this really niche area that people just really didn't expect from her. I recommend The Poppy War if you're ready to lock into a fantasy. Not a lot of romance. No romance, actually, so do not go in expecting there to be romance because you will not find it in this book. Next is Flirting with Disaster by Nanu Kumar. This book is basically a retelling of Sweet Home Alabama, the movie, the one with Reese Witherspoon, if you've watched that. I'm gonna put it in would recommend. I really liked it. I read it before I watched the movie, so I think if you've watched the movie, you might be like, this is just like it, because I did watch it after, but I liked it. It's about a girl who on a whim got married to her boyfriend at the time. They like went to Vegas and got married, and then they had a big blow up, and it's been years since, 6 or 7 years. Oh, that's awful. It's been quite a long time, and she is now getting engaged, or has gotten engaged to someone else, and she goes back to this town that he lives in order to get a divorce from him because he kind of ignores her divorce papers every time she sends them, and she ends up getting stuck there because there's a hurricane coming. So, honey, there's a big storm coming. Next is The House of My Mother by Sherry Frankie. I'm putting this up and definitely read. This is a memoir by Sherry Frankie. I don't know if you follow the internet pretty closely, then you might have seen the actual crimes that occurred with Ruby Franke and the YouTube channel 8 Passengers. Basically, she is a super religious nut, okay, and she like tortured her kids, abused her kids, and this is the story of the oldest child out of, I think, 6 children. She talks about how her mom was so different before she started getting on YouTube and before she became like brainwashed by this other woman. Really enjoyed that one. Next is Clytemnestra by Constanza Casati, the same person that wrote Babylonia. I'm putting this one up in definitely read. This is another one of those Greek myth sort of retellings. Next is Hemlock and Silver by T. Kingfisher, another book that I'm putting in my absolute favorites of last year. Like I said, love T. Kingfisher down. This one is a retelling of Snow White, but from the perspective of Snow White's nurse. It's not exactly the same story as Snow White. In this one, Snow White is a princess and she is some reason getting sick over, and she's pretty young, like a teenager in this. So her dad goes out to find the best healer, and she's like a potioneer, this main character for Hemlock and Silver, the nurse. I think her name is Anya, and this is another fantasy book. There is definitely weird elements. We were talking about a mirror dimension, and it was really good. Next is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I'm going to go ahead and put this one in. No, it's not trash because people really love that book. I just did not like it. I read like 14 chapters of it, had to DNF it, could not finish it. I do not like really when timelines are so back and forth, especially when we have multiple POVs and we're going from present to back in time for like 3 or 4 people. That's very, very hard for me to follow, like mentally, and to keep me engaged. Like I will be really locked into one POV and then we switch to someone else and we don't go back to that one person for like 10 chapters. I don't like that. I cannot live with that. So it was a no for me, dog. Next is Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. I'm putting this up in definitely read because I love Ali Hazelwood. This book is the book after Not in Love by her. However, you do not have to read Not in Love to understand it's one of those interconnected standalones that a lot of contemporary romances do now. This one follows a girl who is having a bit of a situationship with someone who's way older than her, and not only is he way older than her, but he is her brother's best friend. You understand that there are lines being crossed here. They haven't talked in years and they have to meet up for a wedding, her brother's wedding, and it is like in Italy. It's like a destination wedding, and so they are basically forced proximity to be near each other and work out what their differences were and this tension between them that they've never really got to explore further. So very good. Loved. Next up is Dream by the Shadows. I requested this book as an ARC because I saw a TikTok video, like one of those TikToks like POV, imagine this is happening type videos, and it sucked me in. And I saw that the author had the book on NetGalley, where I request advanced reader copies from. And so I requested it, I got it, and guess what? Hated it. Hated it. I hated this book. I'm putting it down. I'm not going to put it in trash because the writing was questionable, but like it could have been way worse. The concept was interesting, just really poorly executed. Okay, we're winding down here. Next up, we have Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. Girl, get into it. This one is one of my absolute favorites of this year. This is a prequel to the Divine Rivals series. You do not have to read that to understand Wild Reverence because this actually does not really tie in to what's happening in Divine Rivals. This is a way prequel, like hundreds, thousands of years before, and this follows the gods and the goddesses of this world and Divine Rivals, and specifically this one follows the one goddess who is like the herald for the gods, sort of like Hermes. It follows her and her journey and how she falls in love with the mortal man. She falls in love with the mortal man. Oh, it like made me sick to my stomach. Just so much longing and yearning for love, and it made you question everything about your life, and I loved Wild Reverence. Way better written than Divine Rivals. I'm telling you, Rebecca Ross, she was in her element when she wrote that. Next is What Stalks the Deep by T. Kingfisher. That's the 3rd book in that Soldier Alex series. It's not called the Soldier Alex, it's their name, but Alex something, Alex Easton maybe. This one's about caves, and caves really freak me out. I'm gonna put it in mid just solely because I do not like caves, and it had a really weird twist that I wasn't expecting, and I still don't quite understand. So it's gonna go into mid. Next is Grape Juice. This is another one of those 831 stories. Wow, I read like 3 this year. This one is about a girl who is so burnt out at her job. She works in the wine industry, and her boss sends her on this like wine tasting and making retreat where she does have a little bit of a romantic fling with someone. He's trying to find himself too, so that's why he's away at this retreat, and there's a little bit of romance happening, and it really does remind me of Grape Juice by Harry Styles, which is just really funny that those two things tie together. But I liked it. I'm gonna put it in would recommend. It's a novella, it's a quick read, and I think it was pretty good. Next is The Summer I Turned Pretty. Let me just preface this by saying that I'm obsessed with The Summer I Turned Pretty TV show. Like, Jenny Han, you ate with that TV show. Amazon Prime, I love what you did there. The yearning is so prevalent with Chris Briney. His acting is 10 out of 10 amazing in that series. But I will say that The Summer I Turned Pretty book, which I read after I watched the series, is kind of mid. If I would have read The Summer I Turned Pretty when I was in middle school or like lower high school, I think I would have freaked the fuck out. Like, I would have been so like 10 toes down for it. Reading it as an adult, you're kind of just like, they're stupid. Which is, they're teenagers, but like, they're stupid. Next is Pride and Prejudice. Absolutely loved the book, the movie, the TV show. I'm consuming every single bit of media that I can find with Pride and Prejudice. I've recently gotten into Jane Austen. I love the way that she writes her main protagonists. They really fight for themselves, and this was written in a time like during the 1800s where women were not really like that. Women were more like not active members in their own life. Like, they were passive in what was happening to them. Things were happening to them. They were not doing things for themselves. And Jane Austen was just like way ahead of her time in terms of thinking and the way that she portrayed women. So I loved Pride and Prejudice. It was so good. Next up is a book that I read for my book club. It is called The Bone Clocks. It was weird. It was just weird. I'm gonna put it in mid. It follows a bunch of different characters. We go backwards and forwards in time again. You know, I said I didn't really like that already. It was really confusing. It was weird in concept, like, whoa, like kind of blow your mind weird in concept, but I just did not really love the way that they executed it. Next is House with Good Bones, or The House with the Good Bones. This is by Kingfisher, and this was one of the ones by Kingfisher that just did not really hit the same for me. I'm actually gonna put it, I don't remember it, but I know that I didn't love it as much, so I'm gonna put it down in the I don't remember. Next is The Last Trip by Kirsten Modulin, and when I was putting this one on, I was like, oh, this is what this book's about. And then I started looking at The Crash by Frida McFadden, which is on this list also, and I was like, wait, I'm mixing up the story of these two books between The Last Trip and The Crash. I don't know what plot was what because they're kind of similar in what happens. So I'm gonna put both of these books just together, and I don't remember because I don't know what plot is what for these two books. Next up we have Whirlwind, and this is a basically Twisters style romance book. It's kind of fast, I think, not very long of a book, and I'm gonna put it in no, because I did not like it. I did not really like the main character. Their relationship was weird to me because I think he was a professor and she was his student. I don't know. It was like a cringy kind of romance book. Not my thing. Next up was Grit, Spit, and Never Quit by Rob Riggle. I requested this advanced copy because Rob Riggle, he is so funny on Holy Moly. I liked it. It's about his life and his time, mostly about his time in the military and what he did, which was interesting because I did not know this whole history of how he got into comedy. So I really did like it. I'm gonna say I would recommend it if you're a fan of memoirs and you want to learn more about Rob Riggle or comedians, like specifically. I thought it was pretty decent. Next up is The Austen Affair. This book was so fun. It is about two co-stars on a remake of one of Jane Austen's book, and they don't get along. These co-stars, they don't like each other. They get into a big fight, and it's like raining lightning outside, and they get struck by lightning and they get transported back in time to Jane Austen time. They have to learn how to get along to try to figure out how to get back to present day. It sounds silly. Great book. I'm putting it up in definitely read because I really enjoyed that one. The last book that we have here is You Again by Kate Goldbeck. I picked up this book because the cover on it is so beautiful. However, I'm just gonna let you know that I hated this book. It's going in trash. I'm sorry that that's how we're ending this ranking, but I did not like that book by Kate Goldbeck at all. The main character, she was really annoying. The main guy, he was really annoying. There was a lot of time that passed within their relationship, and pretty insufferable. Like, both of them pretty insufferable. I was not rooting for them at all. So that's not what you want out of a romance book. Okay guys, we have ranked all 71 of these books. Let me know your opinions down below. Do you agree with these rankings? Do you agree with what I've said? Are there any books out of this that you would love to read this year? I just want to talk. Like, let's just chat in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, you can find me at JessFinaCrass on all of my social media. I also have a small podcast called the Cherry on Pop Podcast. If you want to check it out, it's me and my friend Haley talking about pop culture stuff and things going on in our life. I know this was a long one, and I'm glad that y'all were locked in. See you in the next video. Bye!